Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hidden Pearls podcast. Welcome to the last regular season of 2024, the last regular season game. We are so excited that y'all are here with us and cannot really believe that this season is starting to wrap up. So, feeling very, very grateful for all of the stories, all of the laughs, all of the questions that y'all have submitted, and just this journey that we've been on over the course of the year. So, Pops, happy to be here with you. I see that you're still celebrating Christmas up in San Jose.
Yeah, we are. George's place, and the holiday room has not been disbarred. Ooh, that's kind of funny. Anyway, but as a lawyer, kind of cute. But the bar's still up and still rolling, and so here we are. So we'll work on this a little bit later during the break. But so we're still celebrating, and there's a lot to celebrate in this week. So it's pretty cool with the new year and everything that's happened with the Niners. But so I am really grateful to be here with you, young Emma. And some people that follow the show might be wondering, what happened to the person that's here? And so anyway, so we're recording on a Saturday before the game against the Rams. Just with the travel schedule this week, having gone to the Commanders in DC and all that kind of stuff and getting back, been a pretty full week. So George is still at his Saturday morning obligations with the Niners. And so we need to get this done because we got a deadline. We were hoping he might be able to pop in later when he gets here, but we're just going to have to run and see. So you're with us for right now. But I couldn't be more grateful to be with the charming and ever insightful Emma Kittle Ponce. So thank you, Emma, and Happy New Year to you. And it's pretty fun. So you're recording from your office in Bonsall, California. I always want to have an
Exactly.
accent. All right.
Well, today is also a very special day because it is Grandma Lucky's 101st birthday. So last year, Grandma Lucky made it to her first NFL game. She came out and watched George play for her 100th birthday, and the entire stadium sang happy birthday. Exciting because the next day, my now husband proposed to me. So it was a very emotional, big weekend. So there's a lot of love in the air right now for all sides of our family. So feeling very excited about that. We FaceTimed her and she was watching one of our cousins wrestle on TV. And she's just hanging out, drinking a lot of coffee, hanging out with her 10 daughters.
There you go. So happy birthday to Lou Jean. And it really is pretty amazing. So 101 years old and going strong, living large. So it's very good. So we wish her a happy birthday and all the sisters and all the 100 and almost 200 descendants from her and good old Bub Krager. So happy birthday to them. All right, Em. Well, before we get started into the Rams review and all that kind of stuff, taking a look, as people know, we've launched Hidden Pearl Studio, and you've been working really hard on kind of designing, not a set in stone necessarily, but kind of a guidepost is kind of the way I see it for what the 2024 Hidden Pearl Studio framework might be. And we thought it'd be a great idea. I did, and you've been kind enough to follow into it. So maybe just give a few minutes here on kind of what it's going to look like to be part of the Hidden Pearl Studio for 2024 and what some of our themes are going to be.
Thanks, Dad. I'd love to.
Excellent.
So, for those of you who haven't checked out Hidden Pearl Studio, I will just say that you can, at the end of the show, we have a special discount, but it's a full month off plus our 7-day free trial. So, you can give it a shot for 7 days for free. And then if you enter the code that we have in the show notes, HP podcast, right before you check out, then you can get an entire month for free. And that's if you enter it through the website. But what we're doing over on Hidden Pearl Studio. So I guess another big thing before I forget is that starting in February, all of the Mindful Mondays are going to be moved over to the app. And so those are going to be kind of blended in with the content that we are sharing over on the app. And so as we were thinking about this year, it seemed very much like, every year I think it does have a theme, but for us, what really was coming up is the energy of courageous harmony. And since 2024 is an 8-year in numerology, 8 is our pranic body. And so our prana is our life force. It is our chi. It is our energy, exactly, Bruce, that comes through and flows through us and kind of makes us who we are. It's our life force. And the way that we...
Okay, sorry.
And the way that we...
chi energy. Okay, go.
I know it's just flowing everywhere. So the way that it really, you can pull it into your body and really activate it is through your breath. And so we call it our pranic body. So if you've heard pranayama, if you've heard prana, so the way that you can really activate that is through your pranic body. So through your breath. There's a lot of other ways that you can increase your prana, your life force, exercising, eating healthy, listening, like following your bliss, and just really tuning into what makes you feel happy. Those are all really important things. And so over the course of the year, our whole big theme is going to be courageous harmony. So taking courageous action towards harmony, towards what I mean, and that can mean different things for all of us, but I think it definitely means a state of ease, a state of bliss, and a state of where you can at least know that you're on a path and you're growing. And so it doesn't seem so maybe like kite in the wind type energy. And so over the course of every month, we're breaking it down. So uh, you've heard me talking about yogic numerology, but uh, every single month there's a different yogic body that we'll be exploring. And then another category, another component that we'll be adding in is based off of our circle of life tool. And the circle of life is 12 different components. They're different areas of your life, from joy, your home life, home cooking, physical activity, your finances, like all these different areas of our lives that sometimes it's easy to like kind of put a blip of energy into it, but it's not always, really spending time to reflect on, like what is my relationship to money? How does power show up in my life? How do I share power with others? And so as we kind of go through every month, we'll be taking a deeper dive into these different yogic numerology, and then also these areas of the circle of love. And it's really cool how they all kind of like cross over and they're very relative to each other. But through that, we have some yoga practices. We have a lot of guided meditations and journal practices. And just really, I think the energy that we would like to put out is, how can we kind of stimulate our kundalini, right? So stimulate our potential. So kind of wake the energy up within us. And all we're trying to do is really build awareness. So from there, you can make the decision on how much effort or how many changes that you want to make. But just within the realm of courageous harmony, um, we just wanted to offer that because our core values over at Hidden Pearl Studio are love, unity, and healing. And I feel like those are all three really important components on self-discovery and a journey of self-love. And so offering some resources, a big warm invitation to come over and join us. And we hope you check it out.
Well, I hope they do too, because I think one is that you put a lot of time and energy into it and have done a lot of great things with it. I find it really inspiring. And I guess I want to just say a word, if I may, this whole pranic lifestyle and just the way that stuff fits together. I think for some people, they may go energy and chi and all that kind of stuff, and they want to poo-poo all that. I'm just going to say that I am finding that the more that you intentionally try to activate it, and that the more somatically you attempt to live your life that is in touch with your body, and I know like, okay, my body, but like really embedding yourself, your spirit, and your, letting go of your mind and trusting your heart, and, energetically following intuition through the belly and all that kind of stuff. I think what I'm learning is that energy is both in the universe and within us. And if we will surrender our doubts, excuse me, and just practice, it's like you can't start a fire without some twigs. And then when it starts, it's just a little smoldering little thing. And then pretty soon it grows. And then like each time you work at trying to tap into it and you convince your body and your body surrenders and you surrender to it, then it's like you throw another little bit bigger twig on there. And then pretty soon you're throwing sticks on. And then pretty soon there's a log on there. And then like this whole energetic thing, it's like no joke. Like you can feel the energy. And so I encourage folks, it's just a different way to kind of connect both to the earth mother, to the universal spirit and prime source, whatever you want to call it, and also just to feel it within your body. And as those of you who at all listen to my Mindful Mondays, I've done a couple of them around that the body is the anchor. The breath takes us to the body, and the body is really the anchor because the body is always present now. It never is in the future or the past. And if we live through our body and what the body's going through, it helps us to live into that mindful moment as well. So, and for those of you who will drastically miss the freebie of the Mindful Monday, we're very sorry about that. But we just it's kind of specialized content, and we really value those efforts. And so we're going to toss that in there. And if you want to give it a shot for the 7-day free trial, we would love to have you. So anyway, that's my little spiel. So thank you, Emma. Okay, anything else on that? So hope you guys will all check it out. Love to have more people on there and be a part of our mindfulness group. We've got other things going on as well. So any questions, hit us up and we'll be glad to interact with you. All right.
Awesome. Let's talk about football.
Let's talk football. Okay. Here we are, Emmy. Week 18. Strap on, put your seatbelts on. Game 17 of the 2023-24 season. When I was writing this, it's just like, you get into it and then there's those early games and then you're kind of the halfway point. There's so much uncertainty and all that kind of stuff. And then here we are the last week of the season and we know a lot. And so it's pretty cool. There's still a lot of wrinkles left, but it's pretty cool. So the Niners are home this weekend in what turned out to be a game that isn't pivotal for either team. And so we'll talk about that versus the Los Angeles Rams, our good friends from the southern part of the state in the welcome confines of Levi's Stadium. So we're looking forward to that. So wishing everybody another happy new year, and really what a happy new year it has been, because as many people know, last week we were in Washington and a lot of things transpired there. So as we enter week 18, the last week of the regular season in the NFL, and a lot of teams are still battling it out to secure a spot in the playoffs. The number one seeds in both the NFC and AFC have been decided. Those of you who are football fans, you know that. The 13-3 Ravens locked up the AFC with a dominant win over the Dolphins, 56-19. More importantly for us, though, in the old NFC, with the Eagles' loss at home, to the Cards, 31-35. Thank you, Kyler Murray and the whole crew for continuing to play through. And hats off to the GM who expressed frustration with them winning late in the season, which screwed up some of their potential first-round draft choices. So poo-poo on you. It's more important to win, but that's another debate. And then along with the Niners road win at Washington, 27-10, Niners have now locked up the NFC number one seed and a first week bye when the playoffs begin after this weekend. So we get a 2-week stretch in here, which is super important for everybody's health. So congrats to all the coaches and players for fighting and scratching their way through another grueling season to put themselves in the driver's seat in the NFC, with the road to the Super Bowl in the NFC now going through Levi's Stadium. So that's pretty exciting, and the bye week will be terrific. So pull up a seat as we review the amazing exploits of the Niners and look at the overall playoff picture in this week's final regular season game against the Los Angeles Rams, where we started divisional play so many weeks ago. And that's how all these divisional games go. Everybody plays everybody twice. So that's pretty cool. All right. So, Em.
That was amazing.
Well, there you go. I get pretty.
They really, I feel like compared to, I love how you've spiced them up. So thank you for doing that over the course of the season. They're very fun.
Pretty fun. Okay. So week 18 at Washington. So this is one Niners went in. They were supposed to win. It's a long road trip. So you kind of lose a day because it's such a, it's a 3 time zone thing all the way across country. So, and just as somebody who flew it and goes, and I'm not even playing, then those 3 hours really jack with me. So, but anyway, victory on the road, 27-10. Anytime you can go on the road, especially over a couple time zones like that, it's a big deal. So I'll just, a couple stats, Em, don't you think? Everyone would be
definitely.
Okay. So offense really came back with a punch, 184 yards rushing, 224 passing for a total of 408 yards and no turnover. So hanging on to the ball really well. And Brock was really good with 230 yards throwing, 22 of 28 for 2 TDs and 0 INTs. So we can come back to the old Brock Purdy thing, but I just, for those folks who do not know him, he started like 42 games at Iowa State and a pretty calm dude under center. And I think rolled right through whatever happened with the Ravens. So we're really excited to see that going, and he's settling in. He will not be playing this weekend, as we've been told by Coach Shanahan. So good for that. I'm all in. Then Elijah Mitchell came in. So CMC went out with a little bit of a kind of calf strain, apparently. He's not going to play this weekend either, but he should be no problem getting ready to go here in 2 weeks. But Elijah came in, 80 yards on 17 carries, ran really hard. Excited to see him. When he's healthy, boy, he can really do some stuff. 1 TD. CMC ended with 64 yards before he went out. And then Brandon Ayuk, 114 yards, 7 receptions, and 1 TD. And many of you know, we're going to talk about this. So we had a whole bunch of folks in the Niners. What do we have? 9 of them. Is that right? I
Mhm.
think so. Make the Pro Bowl. Hard to see leaving Brandon Ayuk out. I know there's some great receivers out there and all that, but he has had a Pro Bowl kind of year. So hats
Yeah.
off to him.
Agreed.
All right, and then defense response holds Commanders to 10 points, had 2 interceptions, really rose up, all that kind of stuff. And so really nice win on the road. So anything about the game specifically, Em? I was just going to talk about some of the things that unfolded from there. But it was, so we were there and it was really overall pretty, kind of tight, but it was your classic Niners came out in the second half and really put pedal to the metal and took care of things. And the Niners stepped up with a pick six, which put the icing on the cake and all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty good vibe. So anything from your insights there?
Mm,
Mm.
just, I love how 49ers put up the most Pro Bowl votes, so thanks everybody. Thanks, faithful. That's pretty amazing.
It is unbelievable. I mean, we like to think that the faithful are pretty amazing, and they are, but like the top vote getters, like that's crazy. Like, and how many votes were out there and all that kind of stuff. So again, hats off to the faithful for following their team and supporting them in the Pro Bowl voting. It was really cool. So with that win, and so many of you might have seen right after the game, the Cardinals were still playing the Eagles and they had to come in with a last 2 minute drive in the fourth quarter to score a touchdown. And I think they left the Eagles about 15 to 20 seconds on the clock after that. But anyway, all the boys were in the huddle watching that last drive, and many of you saw those recordings, and it was pretty exciting. So with the Eagles lost, then statistically eliminated everybody else from ever being able to win the number one seed. Even if this weekend we lost to the Rams, didn't matter what everybody else did. So locking that up. So I had some questions in here for George, and when he gets in, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But as we said, gives him a bye. So that's really important. It also, because the Rams have locked up their playoff spot, their seed could move around a little bit. So it kind of matters. I don't think it matters too much to them because Stafford's not playing. Aaron Donald's not playing. So they've got a few people that they are resting, a lot of people. So that game's going to be kind of interesting how that plays out. But anyway, but you saw how excited they were. And I guess I'm just going to comment. One of the things I really saw, there's some clips from inside that locker room. And I don't want to say this is exclusive to football because it's certainly not, but I think any professional sports team or really any sports team, and Em, you've been a part of these that have been really successful. When you're on a run like that and you win, either a playoff spot or you get into the playoffs like your high school basketball teams or, playing OU at OU for volleyball, whatever, but you get into something and you have those moments in the locker room where you put in so much time and energy. And so a couple weeks ago, they secured the NFC West, which was one of their goals coming into the season. And then this past Sunday, with everything that happened, they secured the NFC number one seed, which is also one of their goals. But neither of those goals are the end of the road for us, we hope, as we know. But there is still something about having, that hour or 2 hours in the locker room with these people that you spend so much time with. And if folks are listening that aren't really, haven't done that, maybe you got a grueling job and you spend a lot of time at work. I hope you love it, but hope it doesn't suck. But there's just a special kind of thing. And there's no way to describe it. And those moments, only they're very temporary and they're very fleeting because you're packing, you got to shower, you got media, you got to do trainer stuff, you got to get on the bus, then you got to fly back. But for just a few moments, there is this rest because that game is
Mhm.
over and you got a week before the next one. And in that moment, you can kind of just take a breath and be present with the victory and everything that's been accomplished. So I certainly saw that, and hopefully we'll have a chance to talk with George about that. But you've had a few of those kind of experiences, I believe, Emma, because we followed you around. Yes.
Yes, yeah, in college volleyball, we had a pretty awesome run one year with OU, and yeah, I mean, the I feel like it's a collective sigh of just,
Right.
it's so exciting, but honoring how much work that everybody put in and coming back to that pranic body, man, it moves through us. It's like the life force of everybody. And I think when you have like a Niners team, I mean, it's just so momentous. Like we have the fans, we have the family. And I think that our podcast does show an interesting glimpse into like how much family energy goes into every single player. Like it's just there's so many things that just are undocumented and unshown. But when everybody is kind of breathing and has this vision and has this life force all channeling through, instead of it becoming this like big kind of sprawling ocean in a way, which obviously oceans are very powerful. But I always think of like how when our energies are really focused, instead of our like the water being a mile wide and an inch deep, it's like this really deep focused river.
Mm,
And that's what I feel like the energy of the Niners is right now.
like that. Yeah. I think that's really true, especially in that locker room because it's such a special kind of thing with that. Hang on, I'm getting okay. Just got word from our special guest. Guess he's not a guest, co-host. Anyway, a few more minutes en route, so that'll be great. We'll be excited to have him. So anyway, so just trying to explain and capture that for folks because I think that's pretty cool. Well, here's some of the milestones in addition to the number one seed, if that's okay, Em. We'll hit a
I
couple.
love this.
Okay,
I got them all up. Let's go. What are the
okay.
milestones?
Well, you can start
What
with.
Brock do?
You go first. Take number one.
All right, so Brock Purdy eclipsed the previous all-time Niners franchise record for most passing yards in a single season, reaching 4,280 yards on the season.
Yeah. So pretty cool. And we also know since then that we expected this, but Brock was also the leading vote getter for quarterback and is the NFC starter for the Pro Bowl. So that's just really unbelievable.
Big
So,
deal. That's a big deal.
so he sets the all time. So, I mean, I don't care what anybody says, whatever. So he's had, a couple outings that, but everybody has those occasionally. And this is his first full season of starting. And so he breaks the all time Niner franchise record. Now, think about the quarterbacks that have been through here and all the amazing teams. And that's amazing. And then to reach the Pro Bowl on top of that. And so I think there's a lot more left for Brock to accomplish this year. So anyway, hats off to old Brocker. Okay. Em, what do you got for number two?
The 49ers have won 10 regular season games against NFC opponents in consecutive seasons for the first time since the 1997-98 seasons.
Okay. So that's like over 25 years ago. And so I just want to like for folks that are out there, you Niner fans, this is pretty special because that doesn't happen all the time. So
Mhm.
you only got 17 games, and I know they added an extra one, so you got an extra swing at it. But that's still 10 regular season games against NFC opponents is pretty cool. So that is quite an accomplishment, not having been done since really back in the Super Bowl era. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Em, what do you got for number three?
The Niners are the first franchise in NFL history to have a running back, two wide receivers, and a tight end all reach 1,000 yards from scrimmage in a season. We got Christian McCaffrey. We got Brandon Ayuk, or Christian McCaffrey's at 2,023. Brandon Ayuk is 1,317. We got Debo Samuels at 1,085, and the good old George Kittle at 1,022.
Yep. So
Dude,
now,
CMC is 2,000. That is amazing.
well, that's
I
total
mean, he
yards.
touches the ball a lot.
That's total yards from scrimmage. So that's catching and
Can you
running.
explain that? Can you explain that? Can we have a
Yeah,
little football 101? So when they say football, like the line of scrimmage.
yeah. So that is so where they snap the ball from sideline to sideline. That's called the line of scrimmage. And so for referees, that's you have offsides and all that kind of stuff with it. If a quarterback crosses it while they're throwing a downfield pass, it's that's a violation. So that kind of just monitors things, and there you have to have so many people on the line of scrimmage at the time of the snap. You can't have too many. Can't have certain people covered up. So there's all these rules about the line of scrimmage. But the way they track yardage is from that line of scrimmage. So when CMC takes a handoff or a pitch in the backfield that's 4 years deep, the 4 yards he earns getting to the line of scrimmage that doesn't count in what's on. So it's from where the line of scrimmage is. And so for CMC, whether he catches it or runs it, and that's the combined total for that. So he's over 1,000 yards rushing. I think he's just under 1,400 yards rushing, something like that. But anyway, combined between his receiving and that, he's there. So and then Brandon Ayuk, I don't think he has any rushing yards in there. Debo would have some in there. And George had, I think, one rush. He got one handoff on a fourth down that I think, took for 2 or 3 or 4 yards or something like that. So that's where that combo comes in there. So, but those are kind of total yards from scrimmage in the season. Now, I've seen a couple of other like Instagram posts. So I don't know that there might have been some teams early on in the 2000s. And then there's some talk that there might be some other folks. I think one was the Lions and maybe somebody else that might also have 4 people over 1,000 yards from scrimmage, but I don't know. But anyway, that's a stat that I got from off the Niners page, so we'll see if that's correct. And in addition to that, you add in Brock Purdy going over 4,000 yards. That's quite a bit. So anyway, again, just, as we go along, we got a lot more to do. And these aren't the goals in and of themselves. They're just kind of mileposts to kind of look at as we get there. So anyway, okay. What do you got for number 4, Em?
Last week, we noted George went over the 100-yard mark in receiving for the third time this season and the 17th time in his career, leaving him third all-time in franchise history for 100-yard games, trailing only Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens. This week, George had 29 receiving, pushing him over the 1,000-yard mark for the third time in his career.
Yep. So, and I just shout out, and like I'm a dad and you're a sister. So anyway, we can shout out George. So give us a break on that. And then I wanted the other one that came out after I wrote this was that George and Brandon Ayuk for the Niners as a franchise. It's the first time since Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens that we had 2 receivers with over 1,000 yards each since that era as well. So a lot of kind of similarities between some of the things that those guys were doing there. And it's not bad to be in the books next to Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, just a shout out. And again, I'm just, just kind of, so people, we want to keep it kind of real here. I don't think people appreciate what it takes to be on the field for 18 games in a season.
Yeah.
It is a brutal sport. It's a very physical sport, and it just is that reality. And so for anybody that's out there, people ask, well, how's the team doing? If those people are playing, and this is for everybody in the NFL, if you're playing, like really playing like 50 plus snaps a game, everybody's hurt or not, not their best. It's just the reality of it. So anyway, to be able to do that. So just a shout out to all those guys, everybody on the Niners, and really just my admiration for I just love football and I appreciate football players because it's hard. It's really hard. And I'm not saying it's that much, I know other sports have their physical element to them and it also requires that. I can't imagine like NBA basketball. I didn't play basketball, but like that is a lot of trips up and down the, and
a lot of running.
They bang the shit out of each other. So anyway, okay. All right, Em, what do you got for number 5?
Debo passed 1,000 yards from scrimmage with 214 rushing and 871 receiving yards for 1,085 yards.
Yeah, he didn't do all of that in last week, but total, that was a total. So anyway, so put him at 1,085. So just a shout out to Debo and what an element he has been in addition to CMC and Brandon and everybody else. So, okay, then the next one we got, what do you got for number 6, Em?
Finally, CMC is just 65 yards short of breaking 2,000 yards earned from the scrimmage mark.
Now,
break that down for us, Dad.
I got that wrong actually, because after they got this done, they recomputed everything. So he's supposed
to be did it before.
Yeah, so sorry, I should have added that. So he's actually at 2023 right now. So he is over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Yep. So that's really cool. And I guess just a shout to him, the way he runs, how physical he is, the element that he brings. And so here's the thing, right? Like, I don't know, there's no way to compare this, but if you haven't been in that position where you're running with this object and there are 11 dudes that are all huge and really fast and really strong trying to hit the shit out of you and get you, and then all the hits that he takes all the time and the way he runs and pops back up, it is just amazing. So just a shout out to CMC and everything that he does and all that kind of stuff. Boy, I'm kind of a fan of the team, aren't I? Okay. All right. Enough of that bullshit. All right. Anyway, but I do appreciate just the fire that he brings to our team. And we do have some unbelievable leaders in that way. And that's one thing that's special. Okay. What do you got now for number 7, Em? What's another milestone?
The 49ers defense has now held opposing offenses without a 100-yard individual rusher in the 43 consecutive games dating back to week 9 of 2021.
All right. So we've had some games where we've given up over that. We've given up some chunks, but it's been to multiple either rushers or whatever. And often it's been to kind of a combo between a running back and a quarterback that's good on the run. But one individual running back has not rushed for 100 yards against us for 43 consecutive games. And so that's still something. So just a shout out. And they've been playing hurt because Hargrave's been out and he's been dealing with a hamstring pull. And then Eric Armstead, who I think people have really realized over the last 4 weeks when he's been gone, his control of the A and B gap inside in the interior defensive line for our folks is really huge. He just is a very powerful human being, difference maker in the run game as far as the defense for us. So it's pretty cool that way. So we are looking forward to getting him back, not this weekend, but he should be back, we think, for the first playoff game in 2 weeks. So that'll be pretty cool. Okay. So anyway, that's a pretty amazing year for all these Niners, and congrats to everybody that made the Pro Bowl. So shout out to Juice, and we got Fred Warner, and I can't remember everybody on defense because I don't pay attention, but you guys will have that list for you. But anyway, it's really cool. Everybody's played well. We got a lot of really good players, and hopefully we get a bunch of rest and cruise through this one with nothing notable, and prime up for a home game pretty soon. So now, as amazing as that was, and as cool it is to get the first seed, who cares?
Who cares?
Because there's
a lot of football left to play.
Bam! Emma's got it right. And what do we got to do, Em?
Win. Get your mind right.
We got to get our mind right, as the old Claire Bear would say. So that's what we're doing this week. Not too tight, though. We're not wrapping anything too tight about it. Em, do you want to review the old NFC West standings? So not quite as important.
I would love to. Okay, so Niners are 12-4. We beat Washington 27-10. We were playing the Rams, who are 9-7, who beat the New York Giants 26-25. Yep. Any comments on that stat, Dad?
Well, we're going to get into the Rams. I just really kudos to that whole crew. Everybody kind of wrote them off at the halfway point. Just weren't playing very good ball. They were losing games people thought they should win, and they kind of written them off. And then they just go on this streak, and really just, I think they're one of the most dangerous teams in the playoffs right now. I think they're going to be a really tough out, whoever gets them, because they're going to have to travel because they're going to be one of the lower seeds. So likely they're, I've got some pairings down below, but, probably either going to, depending on what else happens this weekend, but they're going to head to either Dallas or Detroit. And I think, they're a tough matchup for anybody. So anyway, kudos to those guys. They're always a great rivalry for us, but they're playing some really good ball. Stafford's tough. Cooper's back. Yeah. Aaron's healthy. I mean, it's going to be a thing. So anyway, okay, sorry. What do you got next?
Seattle is 8-8. Lost to the Steelers 23-30 they're at Arizona this week, who are 4-12, but beat the Eagles 31-35.
Yeah. So our other two comrades in the old NFC West. So Seattle, now that was a tough one for them to lose, but that was one of those games Steelers had to win to stay alive. Seattle still has an outside shot, but they need some people to lose. They have to win. And but that's not going to be easy because they're going to be at Arizona, and Arizona's playing pretty darn good football right now, kind of found their niche. Hardcore running team, defense plays really well. And I thought what Kyler Murray and the crew did at the Eagles, still playing there. And I know the Eagles have kind of lost some steam because they've been getting beat up a little bit and all that kind of thing. I think reality's caught up to them some. But that is still, as we know, a very formidable place to play. And to execute that way in the fourth quarter, the way in which they did, again, just hats off to their coaching staff and all their players. Because it's easy when you're 3-12 just to kind of, ride it out and go for the draft choice and all that. And they didn't do that. And so anyway, I'm a lot of respect for everybody in our division. Everybody plays hard and they bring it every week. So it's pretty cool. So anyway, all right, that is the NFC West standing. So, hey, Em, what do you think? Should we take a look at the playoff setting right now?
I would love to look at the playoffs.
All right. Bam. Okay. As everybody knows, Niners, we're hosting the Rams this weekend, but we are the first seed, got the bye. We won't play the first round of the playoffs in next weekend's slate of games, so we're all there. The number 2 seed right now, and that's going to stay there, is Dallas, 11-5. They play at Washington. Every reason to believe they should win that one pretty easily, so they probably will. 3rd seed right now is Detroit, 11-5. They host the Vikings, which I think they'll handle pretty easily, but we'll see. And I don't think they have to win that in order to maintain the 3rd seed. So 1st, 2nd, 3rd seeds are all tied up. Currently, and I'm just going through, who've already locked a spot. Yes. The 5th seed right now, the 4th spot is not locked down, and I'll talk about that in a minute, are the Eagles, who are also 11-5. They are at the New York Giants, who honestly have played teams pretty tough these last 3 weeks. They don't have a very good record, but you never know against an interdivisional rivalry. But so they're there. And then the Rams 6th are locked, 9-7 at the Niners, like I said. And the game for them doesn't impact their getting into the playoffs at all, but it could change the seed. So still fighting. These are teams that have to win. So 4th seed right now, if they win this weekend, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they are at the Panthers. okay, who are 2-14. I would expect Tampa Bay to handle that one and lock down the 4th seed, which is pretty important for them. And then currently the 7th seed are the Green Bay Packers. So they beat the Vikings. And either team that would have won that game last weekend, you're winning, you're in. So now the Packers, they host the Bears, who are 7-9, but playing kind of decent. But the Packers are 8-8. They need the win, though, to lock down the 7th seed. So then people who could get in, depending on a variety of different things, the Seahawks still have an outside shot, but have to have losses. Saints have a shot. Vikings have a shot, as do the Falcons. But if the teams that I've listed win, then the only team there would be then Tampa Bay would lock and step in. So, and as it goes, Dallas would play the lowest seed, which would be the Packers right now. Detroit then would play the next seed, which would be the Rams. So that would be a super interesting game. And then Tampa Bay would host the Eagles. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, that's the slate right now, and we'll see what happens. So
Thank you
that's
for
the
that, Dad.
NFC. Any questions about any of that, Emmy?
I feel very educated. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Well, for folks that are watching, so it makes, and there are some pretty pivotal games in there. That Detroit one, that's going to be really cool. So anyway, all right.
Any predictions you feel, Dad? Anything that you're just feeling about these upcoming games, especially this weekend?
That slate, I think, all these teams are playing for their spot to lock down that seed, and everybody else has to play. I mean, really, the Rams and the Niners are the only 2 teams. I think everybody else has kind of got to lock in to do that, to secure that seed. I mean, Dallas and Detroit aren't going to travel no matter what. So, I mean, I don't know that they're going to be playing everybody, but it could switch them around, I guess. So it kind of depends on that. But, I don't, there's not a whole lot there. I think everybody's pretty set, and I think those teams are probably going to win. Those, I don't see any big upsets as far as that goes. I think the Packers at the Bears, I think is kind of dangerous for them. So, but that could be kind of tough. So we'll see what happens. So if they lose, then Vikings got a chance, and we'll see what happens. So, okay, AFC playoff teams. All right, we'll run through this because it's kind of cool, but we don't really care as much because we're in the NFC. But anyway, Ravens, they host the Steelers, who have to win, I think, to get in. But anyway, second is Miami. They host the Bills. That is quite a game. Now, the winner of that game will win the AFC East. And so, or the North or whatever they're in, I can't remember now. No, it's the East, I think. Yeah. So they're still fighting. So Miami has the 2nd seed right now, but if they lose to the Bills, they won't have the 2nd seed and they'll be traveling. So that's a huge game for those guys as they're playing. The 3rd seed right now is the Chiefs. They're at the Chargers. All right. And then the 5th seed are the Browns, who are at the Bengals. So now who's fighting to get in? The Jags are currently ranked 4th. If they win, they're at Tennessee. They would lock down the 4th spot. Then the Bills are 6th. But as I said, if they win, they take over the 2nd seed, or they might be the 3rd seed, I think, depending how all that goes. But they would win that division, and so they would move up quite a bit and would host a game instead of being on the road. Then the Colts are at the 7th seed, and they're at the Texans. So if all those teams I just mentioned win, then they are in, and they're kind of locked. The teams that are only 2 surviving teams that need help are the Texans and the Steelers. So same thing, Ravens will have a bye. And then we don't know either Miami or the Bills. As far as the playoffs go, they would play the 7th seed, which is the Colts. And there's so much other mixture. I'm not going to go through all those because there's just too many variables to see what happens in the AFC. But that's kind of how it stands right there. Okay.
Exciting.
Yep. And that's, that whole blah, whatever. We'll see you in the Super Bowl, whatever that looks like. So whoever shows up, we're glad to see it. It's kind of cool to see some new teams in there. And it's really fun. I guess the one thing I would say is I've been very impressed with some of these teams that, playing good football down in December matters. And, the Bills, they lost about 4 or 5 games kind of in the middle of the season. Everybody thought they were kind of out of it. And I think a lot of people thought, well, they're still going to get it together. And by gosh, they sure have done so. And so kind of shout out to those guys. Just a really tough, hard-nosed group of guys. And same thing, folks with the Browns and everybody's there. It's just football's hard. And people don't appreciate how hard it is to win every weekend. And it's amazing the things that people do. So anyway, pretty cool. All right. So we have a lot of commotion in the house here where I'm at, Em. We have a certain celebrity that has entered the building. We don't know. We're not sure if he got through security yet or not. So we're waiting to see. But anyway, so we're
There's a serious guard dog who might be holding him up.
Yeah, the bean. Yeah,
Mm.
she would paw you to death. She'd want, as long as you pet her, she's pretty good. She does have quite a bark though.
She does.
I
She
mean,
does. Big paws, big
yeah,
bark,
she's big. Yeah.
crazy
Like
hips.
when she looks at you through the front door and is barking at you and it echoes through that, it's like, that's a bark. So it's pretty cool.
It's a good bark.
Okay.
Well, any
What?
yeah.
Yeah, let's
No, I
roll.
was gonna say keep going. He'll jump
Okay.
in.
All right, so let's just talk about the Rams. So the plot thickens as it always does in the NFL each week with the Seahawks loss to the Steelers 23-20 and the Rams win over New York. The Rams have locked down a playoff spot, which we've already mentioned. Now they're just fighting for the final seeding position, which makes the game on Sunday with the Niners pretty interesting because neither team has to win. And losing the game doesn't really impact anybody. But you know what? It's still the Rams Niners, And so it's pretty cool that way. So we're going to have to see what everybody's going to do. So lots of questions around who's going to rest, who's going to play, and we'll kind of take a look at how the teams match up. Oh my gosh.
What the heck, everybody?
Elvis is in the building. All right.
Yay!
Let me get his other mic turned on here. Give me a second.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right. Boom, boom. Let me double
Wow,
check.
look at him.
Hi.
All right. Welcome, George Kittle, to the podcast. How we doing, bud? How was your morning?
It's wonderful.
All right. Well, you
Happy
missed
to be home.
You missed a lot of our stats.
Oh, I missed no stat, Dad.
I
don't want to go back.
No, we're not.
No, we're going back.
No.
You just scrolled all the way up.
I was just going to tell you. So we talked about all the milestones the Niners did in the Pro Bowl and all
It was
that.
awesome.
So that. And
Yep. So you just scroll back.
Hey.
You just said you weren't going to scroll back, and you scroll back.
Okay. Then we did the NFC, and then we just did the NFC and the AFC kind of playoffs and those things and all that kind of
George,
stuff.
I think he just wants you to know how many stats we did do.
Okay.
Stat appreciation.
You want to talk about? We talked about that moment in the locker room. That was pretty cool, right?
A great moment in the locker room, having everyone together, watching the game. It was completely quiet. I did. Everyone yelling, cheering for the Cardinals, and then that actually happening. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
What a game by them, and yes, pretty special moment for us too.
Very special moment. Okay, so blah blah blah. I got all the stats in there, but we just kind of been talking about because this game. It could impact the Rams slightly about where they go in the seeding, depending on what else happens. But otherwise, they're locked in. They're not playing a whole bunch of people.
Nope, they got guys sitting. We got Brock sitting.
Yeah.
Don't think all of our guys are going to play a whole game.
CMC's not playing.
Nope.
So, yeah. And so, I mean, so we're kind of expecting maybe starters go a couple series of what it's going to be like a little bit of a, preseason game and that kind of thing. So I don't know. The stats really don't matter too much as far as that goes. Stat wise, though, I mean, statistically, and we were just talking the Rams, everybody kind of wrote them off at the first half of the season because they weren't playing well.
That's true.
And then they really kind of went on a roll and they're going to be a tough out, I guess is what we were talking about.
Oh, 100%. Matthew Stafford has been amazing.
There's a stats
as he usually is. He's phenomenal. Got a great arm. He can make any throw on a football field. Got great vision. Their running game is picked up significantly. They're actually running off the ball. They're not just like turning and throwing guys. Like they're running outside zone. Their running back's doing a really good job. Yep. And their rookie wide receiver, Puka's, Pro Bowl as a rookie. Will probably win Rookie of the Year. Competed with CJ Stroud in Houston.
Yep.
But he's like 29, 28 yards away from a record. It's funny when my second year when I had to break a record against the Rams, they did everything they could to not let me break it.
I still remember the play, the touchdown.
Well, no, someone with the Rams told me that they had a game, like they had a meeting. They're like, we're not going to let Kittle break the record. I was like, hey, Sean, screw you. Broke it anyways. So I don't.
Our love for the Rams goes very deep.
Yeah. Cool, Sean. Super cool move, dude. Sick. Anyways,
they couldn't cover you on that.
Nope, they couldn't cover me. And
he went for a 45-yard touchdown.
43, but yeah,
43.
But yeah, no, Puka. I hope he does break it. Records are meant to be broken. Yeah. So I don't think that was our game plan, is to not let him get anything. But it'll be interesting too. Carson Wentz is the quarterback. Excited for him to get an opportunity because he was in the league for a while, and just this season and a little bit of late last year. So for him to get an opportunity, he's going to go out there and he's going to be guns blazing too.
He's never lost to the Niners.
Never?
He's got 3 wins. They didn't mention.
That's a good statistic.
Yeah. So saw that today.
Well, so we'll, besides that, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So running back, Kyren, I hope I'm saying that right.
Williams. No, we already talked about that.
I was just going to say he's a 1,000-yard rusher.
I know. I talked about how their run games are going really good.
You didn't say he's a 1,000-yard rusher.
He's a 1,000-yard rusher. He's doing a great job.
All right. Anything on defense you want to mention? Who's the players there that you want to talk about?
Aaron Donald's not playing, so that's awesome for us. Made our game plan significantly easier because you don't have to account for him on every single thing all the time.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. There you have it. Let's see. Just a couple
Keys to victory.
Well, wait.
Keys of victory.
Wait.
Keys to victory.
They've won 6 out of the last
Go with
7.
the George.
They won 6 out of the last 7.
Bruce has to read the script straight through. Otherwise, it's like his brain like just goes.
Took Ravens to overtime at home. That was
Black
pretty
cat.
cool.
Black cat.
And they locked the spot. Okay. So what are the greatest challenges? What are the keys to victory, George? In this game, that doesn't mean a whole lot.
The keys to victory: stay healthy. Number 1. Number 2, throw the ball to Charlie Warner and Braden Willis.
Bam.
Those are my keys to victory. And then hand the ball off to Elijah Mitchell and let Drano run.
Let him go. Yeah, I hope he gets like 30 rushes at least. So that'd be pretty cool.
Him and JP will have some fun with that.
Okay. So okay. We're in the Dini wine, shoes, or food issue. Anything you want to talk about, George?
What you got, George? What
for
shoes
it?
are we showing off this week?
I'm currently barefoot right now. Besides
Dad,
that,
what shoes do you have on?
no, you don't want to see those.
I got my little my like beach sliders, the little canvas one.
I know exactly what you're wearing.
Give me a sec.
Okay, hey George, go grab some shoes. I got some football 101 questions.
Right.
Okay.
Here. Just for everybody.
All right. So cool. Okay, Dad. Richard GX2 wants to know, can you explain the various tight end stances and splits?
Oh, golly. I can. I mean, I can sure talk about it. So typically, tight end is thought of if they're in line, that is noted as they're going to be right next to the offensive tackle. So for folks who are kind of thinking about the person who gets the ball to the quarterback is the center. On each side of those is the guards. And then on each side of those is the tackles. Earlier, we were talking about the line of scrimmage. All 5 of those people always have to be on the line of scrimmage, which means their stance and their head has to basically be through the middle part of the body of the center. But anyway, they have to be on the line of scrimmage. When a tight end is in line, that means they are like a tackle, and so they're going to be up on the line of scrimmage just like that. And then, so that is kind of one. Typically, that's going to be the run position. We can do some runs out of other ways to do that. But if he's in line, it makes it a lot easier. It's hard if you're off the ball or there's a big split between you and the tackle, the combination with that tackle. The Niners do some of that, though, but it's a little bit tough. So, George, the question was different alignments for the tight end. So that was the inline tight end. Then you've got, we can take it from there. So there's kind of split, and then sometimes you're in line, but you're off the ball. You want to talk a little bit about that and why? And where's your mind?
George, the question is, can you explain the various tight end stances and splits?
It's a very broad question.
Yeah,
you can line up kind of everywhere. You can line up like a wide receiver in the slot, out wide to pass the numbers, in a 2-point stance, wide receiver stance, right off the tackle. Or you can be in a 3-point stance, a 2-point stance off the ball, like square stance, which you see me in a lot. Each one is, there's a purpose to each one and why you do it. They're just different. I don't know how to describe them all. And I'm not entirely sure that what the question is asking, besides that, yes, there are different positions that the tight end lines up in. Now, if you're off the ball, you can either be going sifting across to the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. You can be motioning. You can do a lot of stuff. You can do like the motions and all that. We just like to have the tight ends off the ball sometimes more than other teams because we do so much of the cross sifting and stuff like that.
And sometimes they do, like they might run outside zone and George will be in an off position. Which is harder because, like I said, it makes it more difficult. But, just from tendencies, you don't want to show every time you're off, you don't run that direction, all that kind of stuff. So
super true. And also I will say, if it is much easier to block a wide defensive end or outside linebacker if you're off the ball,
for sure,
because there's a little bit of extra space between you guys and you're not having to run like down the line of scrimmage. You can actually have a good angle and run through his outside shoulder instead of being completely lateral.
Yeah. It gives you that extra yard or two for that. So
very nice.
Then the other thing is, just so folks, we talked about how many people have to be on the line of scrimmage and off. If George is on the line of scrimmage, for him to be an eligible receiver, then he can't be covered up. And so the wide receivers then need to be off. If he's off, then they have to be up. So there's a lot of different complexities.
There's a lot of complexities.
Yep. Okay. Em, you got another one?
Next.
Or you want to do your shoes, George?
Sounds like a complex. You want to stick with football 101 questions?
Sure.
Yep.
How do you figure out as a tight end who is guarding your linebacker or safety?
We use motions and stuff like that. You can look at, when we have most teams play zone. There are teams that play man-to-man coverage, but majority of the time you get a motion, you line up, you check out the safeties. What my old tight ends coach used to tell me is you want to find you want to see where the defensive end is. You want to see where the Sam linebacker is. You want to see where the strong safety is, because they can kind of tell you where they are. If the safety's deep and outside the hash. It could be, it's probably split safeties.
Do you guys call that the triangle or not?
Yes and no, we didn't, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, that is something. But like if it's like third down, they'll usually motion one or two guys so you can get a man zone read. And like if a linebacker runs outside, wide with the running back, like a linebacker follows Christian out, hey, it's probably man coverage. And then you're looking, okay, who's going to guard me? And then it's usually pretty obvious. The guy's usually staring at you. Like there are some teams that disguise. But if you disguise too hard in a man coverage, and if the offense has a really good, call on against that, you're kind of screwed. So most teams kind of line up and then when it's man coverage.
Yeah.
Next.
If you're out of position on man coverage and it's the wrong route, you're really screwed. So
next.
Okay, is there one more, Em?
All right. Switching over to Ask George questions. Big Daddy's Barbecue 89 wants to know, what's your favorite barbecue meat to eat, and do you barbecue yourself?
Barbecue pulled pork. I love barbecue pulled pork with what's that? Not pasta salad.
Macaroni
salad.
Yeah, macaroni salad and some what are the chips? Fritos.
Yeah.
And you kind of combine them all into a big scoop and you eat that. That stuff
crazy.
is fire.
We had a little grocery store deli back in Iowa.
Fairway.
Shout
Love
out
Fairway.
to those guys. Anyway, and I actually had a great meat market back in so yeah, you get the pulled pork, that macaroni salad, and then they're on the side, and then the big scoops. You got to get the big scoops of the Fritos, not the little guys, so you can boom boom and double hit it, and it's a meal.
Phenomenal.
So there you go.
All right. Joe Rose.
Hey, Joe.
I think that's what it is. Joe Rose _ wants to know, what are your top 3 childhood cartoons? Let's go for shows. Not like written cartoons.
Like TV cartoons.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and then it would be either Avatar: The Last Airbender or Ed, Ed and Eddie. I love
Ed, Ed and Eddie. Yeah.
I was 100% in my head. Not Yu-Gi-Oh though. I didn't expect you to say that one.
I rewatch Yu-Gi-Oh almost every year. That's why I watch their training camp usually. It's like
we
60
didn't watch
episodes,
that though when we were little.
It's like 18 minutes. Oh, do you not remember me? Emma, they had Yu-Gi-Oh on PlayStation 2. I used to play that with the Balkers all the time. I was addicted.
I remember it as a game.
Obsessed.
Okay.
That was so good.
Kayfabe? Kayfabe. Yeah, Kay wants to know, George, do you like hockey?
Do it.
Oh, hey, hi. Oh, I love a good slap shot, eh?
Tell about your good friend Phil, his accomplishment.
Yes, no, I love hockey. I've been a fan of hockey when I moved to Nashville. Claire met then girlfriend of Phil Forsberg, now wife and future mother of their child, Erin Forsberg.
Shout out Erin. She's the better half.
But I gotta meet Phil that way. After I think was that after the 2018 season? Yeah, I was like early 2019, and I would go to like Nashville Preds game, and I knew who Phil was, but then we got to meet. We hung out a little bit. He's Swedish. It's awesome, a little different, but the competitiveness of him is very, very similar to me and my friends. Fun fact. Yeah.
I've been to more hockey games with Aaron than I have with any other person other than your mom.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when we were still in Nashville and then it was in season, she'd call us and like she went to all these I finally go, why are you going with mom and I are in her 60s and
because your guys are cool.
Well, I guess anyway, but shout out Aaron because we had player tickets and they were the best. It was so fun. We had access to the club and all that kind of stuff. So thank you, Aaron.
I love hockey. Anytime
super fun.
I really got into it in college. When I lived at my 830 Miller house with the boys, we would kind of decide chores over NHL 2012. We'd play the video game and play 1v1 or 2v2 and loser had to do the chores. And so I got big into that. Honestly, my favorite team back then was the Flyers because of Giroux. Claude Giroux was one of my favorite players, in that time. And then also I really liked Ottawa for some reason. I just thought, I thought they had cool uniforms. But anyways, then I did my combine training down in Frisco, Texas, right north of Dallas. And me and Trent Taylor would always go down and go to Dallas Stars games because it was a very, very fun environment. It felt like you're at a club watching hockey. So that was always a great time. So I really got into it then. Moved to Nashville, and then I instantly became a Preds fan. I've got so many Preds jerseys, so many Phil Pred jerseys. Got them all, collect them. Got to catch them all.
The king.
Yep, but Prince Phil with the nastiest stash in the world, and just named to his second All-Star game. So shout out to Phil Forsberg and the Preds. Get some more dubs, boys. And now, yes, I love hockey.
Cool.
Amazing. All right, let's do some shoes.
Okay, what do you got, Georgie? Shoes?
Oh, shoes. These are my Grateful Deads. I wore these yesterday for fun. They're nice and furry. They're nice and fluffy. There's 3 colorways. I have 2 of the 3. I don't have the orange ones yet. Anybody got a plug for the orange ones? That aren't going to cost me an arm and a leg. Very interested in it, but they're awesome. It's fun too. There's a little pocket right here in the tongue.
What's it for, George?
The pocket is so you can put your fishing lures in here so you don't lose them when you go fishing.
Look at that.
That's what I told Charlie Warner.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun?
Hey, hold it up for the other camera. Can we get another camera view? So influenced.
Okay. He's loading it up, Em. Cool.
Amazing.
I'm a huge fan of the fluffy shoes. Like I've got the Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, the whole set. I'm really
I like
to get
those.
this whole set. I just like they're just very different, and basically just don't wear them in the rain, and you can wear them whenever you want.
I love the zipper.
It's fun, right? You wouldn't see that coming.
That's.
What would you put in the zipper, Dad? The little pouch.
You put his oblast in the zipper.
Or maybe
That's good, Emma.
Maybe a key, or if I was
A key.
a key.
A key to what?
It's it reminds me of the water bottle that you gave me that had the secret compartment on the bottom.
Yeah.
And then they had the little cover on it, and then you didn't know.
That was smooth.
Like so like if you had things you didn't want to get wet, you could put them in there, like stuff like that.
For sure.
Yeah, for
For sure.
Okay, cool. Let's see.
We had 4 vets last week.
Yep, and then you had your buddy there.
And then it was very fun. So I think I've talked about this. I like to play Clash Royale. It's a Clash of Clans spinoff. The clan that I am a part of, one of our members, I always tell everybody, hey, if I'm ever in your city, let me know, and I'll see if I can hook you up with tickets. And my friend Tom, who is also in the military, he's like, hey, man, I'm a vet, and I'd love to go to a game. I'm in the DC area. And so I got him and it was either his fiance or his wife. Sorry, Tom, but he made it to the game. Shout out to our breakfast club. Yep. That's our clan name. And if you ever see us out there, watch out, because we're gonna beat up on you.
And we also had Skit's brother.
Oh yeah, we did have Skit's brother.
Yeah, totally blanking right now.
John.
Yeah, it was great to see him and his wife. Super fun, and he's in service as well. So
John's the man.
And then we had 4 Reverend Warrior folks there, so that's pretty cool. So, anyways,
that's awesome.
Really good. All right, then last week, our charity we talked about Second Harvest Silicon Valley and Second Harvest Middle Tennessee. So food banks, and again, encouraging folks to deal with the food shortage. Guess what we're doing this week, George?
We're going to work with
Shepherd.
Whose
Tell us about it.
Is to protect and conserve the world's oceans and marine wildlife through the enforcement of conservation law. Ooh, I messed that one up. We provide at sea resources to assist, serve, and support developing coastal and island governments in the protection of their sovereign waters against illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing, with the primary goal of enhancing a government's own capacity to patrol, monitor, and enforce their own laws.
Okay. Now,
let's protect the wildlife.
Well, these guys
break this down though.
This is like a paramilitary group. They have a whole fleet, and so they are out. So these small countries don't have navies, and so these folks go out and then they protect. And actually, they are authorized under international law. They track down pirate fishing ships who are doing with all the nets and doing all that kind of stuff and catching all that. And if folks don't comply, they actually can take people into custody and do all that kind of stuff. So anyway, they're way out on the edge a little bit. And so, but they're out in the
Tell them about the 100-day chase.
Yeah, there was a pirate group that was just notorious, the way in which they were doing the fishing and all that kind of stuff. And they are famous for a 100-day search across the ocean, tracking these folks down, eventually got them to surrender and ended up sinking the ship. So all authorized under international law. So it's like they're like enforcers for the ocean.
That's pretty cool.
So anyway, shout out to the Sea Shepherds and the folks putting themselves at risk to try to protect our marine wildlife and the oceans and all that kind of stuff. So pretty cool that way. All right. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Any hidden pearls? Let's do the quote first, and then we'll come back to the hidden pearls if there's anything else you want to kind of talk about. Is that okay?
Sure.
Perfect.
All right. Em, I know I think, a couple in there. This one was for New Year's, and I forgot it. We didn't read it last year. But I had the one about for last year's words belong to last year's language, and next year's words await another voice. Just about the newness of this in that. And there's one more I added I want to talk about, though. But for that one, it's just that, sometimes we get in these loops, these karmic cycles, some might say. Anyway, and, we just keep telling ourselves sometimes the same stories and all that kind of stuff. So one thing I do like about the symbolism of the new year is just really talking to yourself about what things do I need to let go of and not carry into this year. Like I've just kind of let things, it's like you're walking in the woods and these branches fall and they kind of stick to your backpack and that kind of stuff. And sometimes you got to clean it off and throw them down. So just, giving yourself the opportunity to kind of stay fresh and do that. So I don't know if you guys want to respond to that one, you sure can. And then the other one, George, you want to read that one? That I added that.
I no longer force things. What flows, flows. What crashes, crashes. I only have space and energy for things that are meant for me. I like that one. You should send that one to me.
Okay, I will.
That's a good one. You were supposed to send last week's to me too, and you didn't.
Okay, I'll do that too.
You're grounded.
I know I'm grounded. So that's just that, we talked at the beginning of the hour when we were, the Hidden Pearl studio, and Emma talked about prana and life force. And it's a little bit about that. It's like getting in touch with that universal kind of energy and just recognizing, the universe is going to give you, what you need. And obviously you want to send out good, positive vibes. You got to have intentions and vision and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, grasping and clinging and all that kind of stuff really is not the thing. And so, every door that closed, wasn't the door that you were supposed to go through. So, as long as you didn't go through just because you were scared shitless, I don't think fear is a good excuse. But anyway, just and being okay with it and wherever you are today. And that's when we talk about the mindfulness stuff. It's accepting what is, having an awareness around it, and then figuring out where you want to go and keep taking what, George?
Chances.
And small, consistent steps, all taking in the same direction. So roll. Emmy, you want to say anything on that one?
No, I love that one. I think it's no, I think you guys got it. I love these quotes. Also, another little Hidden Pearl Studio thing is if you join our app, you'll get weekly quote updates from Bruce and I. Little
That's
pings,
awesome.
little Hidden Pearls pings. You can get on
Okay.
those.
All right. Any Hidden Pearls this week, Georgie, that you want to talk about, or Emmy, either one? Some just kind of
Hidden Pearls, the new year. Which is, it's funny because for me, like football right now, it doesn't feel like the new year.
At all.
Holidays went through and all that. But like just seeing whether it's through social media or friends or family, just like the New Year's for a lot of people is a breath of fresh air. And, sometimes that's what you need to either take a chance or to change something in your life. And so I just hope that a lot of people are using this as an opportunity to do something positive with it and to stay committed to something.
I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just
like I am committed to playing video games
right now.
Yep.
Transition off. So,
yep.
But we do want to.
Cody's ready. Cody's ready. He canceled afternoon plans because he has brother-in-law plans.
Brother-in-law.
He accidentally booked
playing with
this
me
afternoon, and he's like,
Ooh, that's
all right.
Hopefully he's playing with it.
Well, just remember each day, each moment really is a new opportunity to be the person you want to be. So just grab it and, do one small thing.
One thing.
Just one little thing, even just to get yourself started moving in the direction that you want to be. And a lot of time we talk about, you got to know who it is you want to be. And that's why we talk about writing down your values and all that kind of stuff. Yes. And then show up in that way. And just the more you think about what would that person that you want to be do, and then do those things. And then pretty soon, if you just keep doing those things that person would do, guess what?
You become that person.
Bam. Look at that. Okay. Emmy, anything for you? You want to close us out?
I got Dane a new treat. If anybody has a dog, they're called woofsicles or popsicle. Yeah, I think they're woofsicles, but it's like a frozen thing, and you put it inside of this like silicone thing, and it keeps the boy busy for like an hour at a time. So those have been really, really fun and just amazingly adorable to watch. So I'm very grateful for those.
What do you call a wolf who finds enlightenment? A werewolf.
A wolf who finds.
That's funny.
A werewolf.
That's
all
funny. Right. Okay, there we go. All right. Well, here's the Hidden Pearls staff signing off. We wish you guys the very best. Good luck to the Niners on the Rams, and we're entering into the old playoff season. and we are excited about that. Thank you for joining us, George. Emma, always a pleasure. Beautiful and insightful as ever.
Woohoo.
We hope you enjoyed the show, and join us on the Hidden Pearls studio. Links and notes and passcodes and all that stuff that Emma's putting in will be in the show notes. Anything else, Em?
Woo! See
right.
you guys on the app. We hope you enjoyed that episode of the Hidden Pearls podcast. We have a special offer for all of our listeners who found us through the podcast. When you join Hidden Pearls Studio as a new member, you will receive an entire month. That's 30 days for free, in addition to our 7-day free trial. All you have to do is head to hiddenpearlstudio.com and use code HP podcast. This is all linked in our show notes. If you have been listening to our show, we hope that you can feel Hidden Pearls as an extension of our family. We created HPS so that everyone could have access to all of the practices that George, Pops, and I use on a regular basis. We offer movement, meditation, mindfulness, and live monthly group calls to help you not only build a practice on your mat, but most importantly, teach you how to take those practices off the mat and into your everyday life. As you heard on the show, this year our focus is courageous harmony. We are excited to explore this with you and go deeper on Hidden Pearls Studio. You can follow us on Instagram at Hidden Pearls Podcast and watch our full shows on our YouTube channel. Tune in for an all-new episode next week when we get that bye week. Woohoo! And we cannot wait to see you all on the mat. Go Niners.